The pounding on my door hit like thunder at 6 in the morning. My heart slammed against my ribs as I bolted upright in bed. Who the heck could it be at this hour? I threw on a robe, my bare feet slapping against the cold hardwood floor, and yanked the door open. There stood Karen Thompson, our HOA president, her face beet red, eyes bulging with rage. Raymond, that hideous weather vane on your roof has got to come down right now. She screeched, her voice cutting through the quiet dawn like a siren. The cool morning air carried the fresh scent of dew on the grass and distant rain. But all I could smell was trouble. I blinked from my eyes. Karen, what? It's just a weather vane. Helps me track the wind and storms for my hobby. What's the big deal? She shoved a paper at me, her hand shaking so hard the sheet fluttered like a flag in a gale. It's a violation of our covenants. It doesn't match the community aesthetic.
Let me explain.
Remove it or face daily fines of $200 starting today. Oh man, my blood boiled instantly. I loved that copper vane with the sleek arrow and proud rooster topper. It was my little slice of joy in this cookie-cutter suburb where every house looked exactly the same. I had installed it myself last spring after months of careful research. The metal gleaming under the sun as it spun gracefully with every breeze. Can you believe this? I sighed deeply, feeling the weight of years of HOA nonsense pressing down on my shoulders like a storm cloud that would not lift.
I know I messed up,
About
Karen,
this
but
like
you
adults?
have to believe me.
Save it,
It's
Raymond.
not hurting anyone.
We've been over this 1,000 times.
It's actually useful. But she was already turning away, muttering about calling the entire board and how people like me ruined neighborhoods. Her heels clicked angrily on the pavement as she stormed off, leaving me standing there with the violation notice crumpled in my fist. I closed the door and leaned against it, heart still racing. Why did these people have to control every little thing? The smell of my morning coffee brewing in the kitchen called to me, promising a moment of calm, but the peace was shattered. That day I reluctantly climbed the ladder, tools clinking in my belt, and took down the vane to avoid immediate trouble. The metal felt cold in my hands, like I was betraying a friend. Resentment festered inside me all afternoon as I stared at the empty roof bracket. By evening the fines started rolling in anyway because Karen claimed I had delayed.
We'll figure it out. No,
$200 for a piece of metal that helped me predict the weather? I sat at my kitchen table, the notice glowing under the lamp, my wife Emily rubbing my back. Raymond, it's just a vane. Maybe it's not worth the fight. But I shook my head, jaw tight. This isn't about the vane anymore. It's about them thinking they own my life. I stayed up late that night, the house quiet except for the tick of the clock and my frustrated sighs, scrolling through forums about HOA horror stories. Folks shared tales of Karen types who find people for garden gnomes or flagpoles. My fingers flew across the keyboard. Then I found it. FAA-approved weather stations. Real professional gear. Kind airports use. Legal. And completely unstoppable once permitted. A wild grin spread across my face in the glow of the screen. What if I replaced my little vane with something so big, so official, that Karen could not touch it? The idea hit like lightning. I ordered the full kit the next morning, heart pounding with a mix of nerves and pure adrenaline. The confirmation email pinged, and I leaned back, exhaling slowly. This was going to be epic. Little did Karen know. Her morning tantrum had just lit the fuse on the biggest backyard upgrade this neighborhood had ever seen. The following weeks blurred into a storm of paperwork and quiet determination. I filed for permits, citing public safety and my amateur meteorology license. Neighbors whispered as the big truck rolled up with crates marked fragile FA equipment. Karen drove by slowly, eyes narrowing, but I just waved cheerfully from the driveway. The scent of fresh cut grass mixing with the metallic tang of the arriving hardware. You could feel the tension building in the air like humidity before a thunderstorm. My phone buzzed nonstop with HOA emails demanding explanations. I
This
replied
violates
politely
City
every
Code
time,
Section
attaching more
4B,
official documents.
subsection 12.
Inside I was grinning
You
ear
have
to ear.
stop
Karen thought she could
immediately.
bully me over a weather vane?
Take a
Wait
look
until
at this,
she saw
Karen.
what I was about
It
to
just
install.
came through.
The first pieces went up on a crisp Saturday.
Are you
The
telling
sound
me
of
this
drills
is
and bolts
legitimate?
echoing through the block.
This
Emily
is
brought me
completely
lemonade, worry
unacceptable.
lines on her forehead.
I pay my
Are you
HOA
sure about
fees
this,
for a
hon?
reason,
I
and this
wiped
kind of
sweat from my
behavior
brow
will
and
not
nodded.
be tolerated.
100%. This is justice. Pure karma in the making. By sunset, the base tower stood tall, gleaming under the fading light. And I climbed down the ladder with a satisfied sigh. Phase 1 complete. Cain she had unleashed. The tower grew taller every day, and so did the drama. I woke up to the rumble of heavy machinery as the delivery crew arrived with the massive radar dome. The air smelled of diesel and fresh paint, the kind of scent that screams big project. Karen was on my lawn before noon, clipboard in hand, her voice shrill enough to wake the dead. Raymond, what in the world is that monstrosity? This is not approved. I wiped my hands on my jeans and smiled calmly. Actually, Karen, it is. FAA-approved weather radar station. Fully permitted. Helps track severe weather for the whole community. You know, safety first. She sputtered.
We must have
Familiar
order in this
shade of
meeting,
purple.
Raymond. You
As
are
you can
Safety?
see from the
It looks like a
projection, the new
spaceship.
system will
The covenants say
significantly
no
improve our
large
early
structures.
warning capabilities.
I pulled out my
Wow, that
phone,
looks much
showed her the
better.
official
I
stamp.
feel safer
Read it yourself.
already.
FA trumps your little
Due to
rulebook.
the recent audit,
Her
the
sidekick neighbor,
board has decided
behind
to
her looking
implement
horrified,
the maximum
mouth open like a
allowable
fish.
Fines.
Can you believe this? I asked with a chuckle. 1 minute she hates my cute weather vane, the next she's losing it over actual science. Karen snatched the phone, scanned the documents, then thrust it back. This isn't over. She marched off, heels digging into my grass, leaving deep divots. I just shrugged and went back to work, the satisfying clank of metal bolts ringing out. Inside, mix of excitement and dread. What if she found a loophole? That night Emily and I sat on the porch, the new tower casting a long shadow under the streetlights.
You
I
cannot
sighed,
do this.
staring at the
I
stars.
forbid you from
Remember when
upgrading
we
this
moved here
service.
for the
It's
quiet
against
life?
the HOA
Now it's
rules.
war.
It's perfectly
She squeezed
legal,
my
Karen.
hand.
The
You're doing the
future
right
is
thing,
now.
Raymond. She's been bullying everyone for years. The next HOA meeting was a battlefield. I walked in with my folder of permits, the room buzzing like a hive.
The
Karen
radar
stood at the
showing
front,
heavy
in court.
rotation near the eye wall.
Item 1.
This
Tower.
system is strengthening
I raised my hand
faster than
calmly.
expected.
Not illegal.
This
Documented and
paperwork
approved.
clearly states
The room
height
erupted.
maximum for
Some
this
neighbors
district,
clapped,
and
others
your
gasped.
little renovation
One
is
guy in the back
clearly
yelled.
violation.
Finally someone stands up.
As you can
Karen
see, the Section
slammed the gavel
333
again.
exemption clearly applies here.
Voice
I'm afraid that
cracking.
interpretation is
This will
welcome to the
lower property
neighborhood,
values.
Raymond.
I
We thought
countered
you
with
could use
facts,
some oatmeal
my voice
raisin.
steady but my
He
pulse
seems
racing.
nice, but
Actually,
rules are
real
rules.
weather data could
Sign
save
here.
lives during storms. Ask the National Weather Service. The meeting dragged on for hours, tension thick enough to cut with a knife. I could smell the stale coffee and feel the stares. By the end, Karen looked defeated but not done. Fines will continue until you remove it, she declared. I walked out into the cool night air, fist pumping once I was out of sight. Bring it? The
So
following
tell
days
us,
brought
what
more
makes
notices,
this
more
neighborhood so
emails,
special?
more stress.
Oh, it's the
My
sense
phone
of
never stopped.
community, really.
But every time
We
doubt
all
crept in, I
look out
remembered
for
that
each
first
other,
morning
even
pounding and her
Karen next
screaming
door.
face. No way was I backing down. The radar dome arrived on a flatbed, gleaming white under the bright sun. Installing it took a full crew and a crane.
Counselor, the readings
The
are off
whir
the
of
charts.
hydraulics
I
and
suggest you
shouts
take
of
a look at the
workers
contract
filling the block.
immediately.
So,
Neighbors
Raymond,
gathered at
what's the
fences,
weather looking
some
like this
cheering,
week?
Looks
some
like
shaking
clear
heads.
skies and sunshine
The smell of
all the
hot
way
metal
through
and grease
Wednesday.
hung in the air as the
He
massive
really
dish
knows his
clicked into
stuff.
place. I stood back,
Don't you dare ignore me.
watching
We
it spin
talked
slowly
about
for the
this,
first
and you
time.
clearly didn't listen.
Beautiful.
I want this
Legal.
handled now.
Karen drove past repeatedly, slowing to glare. I waved every time. Inside I felt a rush of pure triumph mixed with that nervous flutter. Was I going too far? This was payback with a purpose. Small twists kept coming.
My car!
One afternoon the power company showed up to upgrade my service for the radar,
It's hitting the
and Karen
house!
tried to block the truck. The driver laughed her off. FAA priority. Her face when she realized she could not stop progress? Priceless. I slept better that night, the low hum of the new system a soothing lullaby.
These
Week 3
photos
and the full
prove
system
it.
was online.
The radiation from that
Lights
radar
blinked,
is literally disintegrating
and the radar
our
spun
property
steadily,
values and our roofs.
scanning the skies
We
like a
demand
silent guardian.
action now.
The
I sat in my
radar
home
clearly
office,
shows the
screens
effectiveness of
glowing
the
with
early
live
warning
weather
system.
maps.
By
The faint
implementing the
electronic
storm
hum mixing with the
protocols,
distant
we saved
chirp
the
of birds
community
outside.
significant losses.
It felt right. Powerful. Elated. She showed up with 2 board members and a lawyer, waving fresh paperwork. This structure exceeds height limits, she declared. Fury. I stepped outside, warming my shoulders. Check the FAA exemption again. Karen. It's all there in black and white. Her lawyer flipped pages, frowned, and whispered something. She stormed away without another word, but I could hear her muttering curses under her breath. The neighborhood split right down the middle.
The evidence in these
Some folks brought me
emails,
cookies and
Karen.
thanked me for standing up.
This level
Others
of
avoided eye
selective
contact.
Enforcement is
Linda,
frankly
real sidekick,
appalling.
started a petition. I countered with my own community weather alert group. The air crackled with gossip every time I stepped outside. One evening a big storm rolled in, thunder rumbling like distant artillery. My
Having
radar lit up
reviewed the
early,
FAA
feeding accurate data
the
straight to
motion
my
is
phone.
granted.
I
This
sent
case
neighborhood
is
texts warning
dismissed.
everyone to secure loose items. Guess who ignored it? Karen. Her trash cans went flying down the street, banging loudly against curbs. I watched from my window, sipping coffee, a small smile playing on my lips.
The
Karma
motion
already
carries.
tasting sweet.
She's finally gone.
Construction noise
We
had been
did it.
replaced by the gentle
Yes.
whoosh of the spinning dish. But the emotional storm raged on.
With
Emily
these
hugged
new
me tight one night,
guidelines,
her
we
voice
are
soft.
ensuring a
You're
future
shaking the
of
whole block,
fairness
you know
and
that?
freedom for
I laughed,
every
but it was true.
resident.
My
This
heart
is a
swelled with
great
pride
step
every
forward
time I
for
looked
our
up at that
HOA.
tower. It wasn't just revenge anymore. It was proof that one guy could push back. Then came the twist I never saw coming. The local news van pulled up. A reporter wanted footage of the only private FAA radar in the state.
Papa, the
I gave
radar
the
shows
interview
it
right in
moving
front of the
away.
tower, Karen
We're
watching from
safe.
her window across the street. The segment aired that night. Comments online exploded in my favor. Karen must have been fuming. The next morning another violation notice appeared on my door. But this one felt desperate. Sloppy. I scanned it and laughed out loud. She was grasping at straws. The scent of victory was in the air, mixed with the earthy smell of coming rain.
You know,
I dialed my
realize
lawyer just
now
in
that
case.
courage isn't
Things
the
were heating
absence
up
of
and I
fear,
was
it's
ready.
realizing
The
that
radar
something
kept
else is
spinning,
more
collecting
important.
data, proving its
It's
worth
time
with
to stand
every
up.
passing cloud. Neighbors started asking for forecasts. Even some former Karen supporters cracked smiles. But she would not quit. One afternoon she cornered me at the mailbox, voice low and venomous. "You think you're so clever? Just wait." I looked her dead in the eye. "I already waited. Now it's your turn." The real storm hit on a Friday night. The kind that makes windows rattle and trees bend. My radar picked it up hours early, wind speeds climbing, hail possible. I blasted alerts through the neighborhood app. Most people listened. Karen? She posted on the HOA page calling my warnings overblown drama. Big mistake. The hail came down like gunfire, denting cars and shattering a skylight on her house. I heard the impacts from my living room, the sharp cracks and her distant screams carrying on the wind. The next morning her yard looked like a war zone, roof tiles scattered, her prized rose bushes shredded. I walked over with a sympathetic face. "Tough break, Karen. Maybe next time you'll trust the radar. She glared daggers, but there was fear in her eyes now. HOA emergency meeting was called for that weekend. The room was packed, tension so thick you could taste it, like ozone after lightning. Karen tried to blame me for everything, voice cracking as she waved photos of the damage. This radar caused the storm. Ridiculous. I stood calmly, projecting radar data on the screen. Actually, folks, the data shows the storm was headed here regardless. But my system gave us warning. Saved thousands in potential losses. The room murmured approval. Her sidekick Linda tried to back her up, but faltered when people pointed out Karen's own ignored warnings. I could see the shift happening, the emotional tide turning. Karen slumped in her chair, face pale, the fight draining out of her. But she still had one card left. She filed a lawsuit claiming emotional distress and property devaluation. My lawyer laughed when he read it. This will get thrown out faster than her fine stuck to me. The court date loomed. Every night I watched the radar spin, its lights blinking like a heartbeat of justice. The smell of fresh coffee and the sound of my family laughing again reminded me why I started this. Not just revenge. Freedom. Then the twist that sealed it. During discovery, emails surfaced showing Karen had been selectively enforcing rules against people she disliked while ignoring violations by her friends. The board turned on her overnight. Whispers became shouts. One member resigned on the spot. I sat in the courtroom hallway, heart steady, waiting for the hearing. Karen walked past, eyes down, looking smaller somehow. The judge took one look at the FAA documents and the selective enforcement proof and dismissed everything. Case closed. Sunshine. Breathing deep. The final HOA meeting after the court win was pure poetry.
Looking good.
Karen sat at the head table, face drawn, as she tried to call order. But the board voted her out unanimously. The room erupted in applause when they announced new, fairer rules. I stood up, voice clear and steady. Folks, all I wanted was a simple weather vane. What I got was a chance to prove that bullies don't win when good people push back. The radar stays. This community protects real safety and real freedom. Cheers filled the hall. Even Linda clapped. Her shoulders slumped. President. Weeks later, the radar saved the neighborhood again during a surprise tornado warning. Sirens blared, but my data gave us extra minutes. Families sheltered safely. Karen moved a few months after that, her for sale sign flapping in the very wind my system tracked. Bitter end for the woman who thought she could control everything. I stood on my roof one final evening. The towers spinning softly above me. The sunset painting the sky in oranges and pinks. I said, 10. The cool breeze carrying the scent of blooming flowers and fresh starts. Emily joined me. You did it? Yeah. Awfully. We all did. Clear as the radar data on my screen. Never let petty tyrants steal your joy. Stand up. Use the rules they hide behind. Build something bigger, better, and watch justice roll in like a storm you saw coming a mile away. Life is too short for weather vanes that don't spin your way. Get yourself an FAA radar if you have to, or just speak up. Either way, the sky is yours again. And as the stars came out, the radar kept watch. Lights are worth every bolt, every fine glare. The neighborhood felt freer. I felt free. Is the sweetest forecast of all.